shout out to this little sister named, I think her name's Shajika or some shit. I can't pronounce her name. But she a little hip hop artist. But she's not of FBA descent. So she was just basically talking about how in the industry, how especially if you're a woman, you gotta do a lot of things to get, to get a contract or anything as a young black woman. You have to have sex with the execs and shit like that. And she said no. She a married woman. She's faithful to her husband. And she said, it's hard to get in because they want you to do all these sexual favors. I was thinking she may not never get let in, because I didn't even know who she was until I looked at the video on YouTube. I didn't even know who this young lady was. So as she was talking about this penthouse up in on I think 24th Street in New York, Manhattan, penthouse all the way to the top. And it's for $20 million. You pay a large sum to get the penthouse, 24 million, just to get a penthouse. So he said he'll give her, he gonna charge her number 12 million as long as she be his little black bitch. Now this is how this Caucasian man came to her. And this is how a lot of Caucasian men come to black women. See, a lot of times, I ain't gonna say it all, but vast majority of white men, that's how they see a lot of black women. And actually, I kind of blame that shit on black women. They'll try to blame it on black men because, always Jermaine, it's always Jermaine's fault for everything. Always Jermaine's fault. Always black men's fault. But the funny thing is, they'll never, when this woman says she turned it down because she's loyal to her husband, and she a Haitian chick, and a lot of them Haitians are known to be real loyal to their husbands. They real loyal to their husband. They cook, clean, do all the things that a Haitian woman without no problems. Without no problem. And then for this white man basically to come to her and say that just to get a condo, she turned it down. And see, this is how a lot of times a lot of these white men approach black women when they white men in a position of power, or men in general. But they approach women as something, they want to fuck, instead of, somebody that they want to make a legitimate deal with if she's a good artist. They say, well, she's a good artist, but I want sexual access to her as well. Which is fucked up in the game, because you got to do all this shit in the industry, pretty much sell your soul just to get a record label, and then still on top of that, you're a slave to that record label. Like a lot of these artists were slaves to these executive companies. A lot of these big execs and shit, and make billions of dollars off black people music. And then these black people only get crumbs, but in a way, I kind of blame that on the music industry when black people had control and rights to. What we should have did is monopolize on our music, because at one time they didn't think white folks and everybody else just thought hip hop was a fad. They didn't know it was gonna turn into $1 billion industry that it is today. So everybody, even people that don't like hip hop, never listened to it. Somebody told them, hey, this hip hop music blowing up. Just like blues, all the music that black people came up with, white people control. White people control the music. It ain't no different than you got, like I said, it's colonization to me. Whether it be intellectual property, it's colonization by these Europeans. Or whether it be the natural resources in the ground in Africa, they always, white supremacy always want to colonize your shit to make a profit, but give you crumbs back out of it. And then if you complain about it, here's a problem. There's a problem if you complain about the deal. It's just like Prince and Michael. When Prince and Michael, they wouldn't sell. They bought back their rights to their music. You notice they died a year later. Soon as they got the money back, got their rights back to their music. Look at R. Kelly. Yes, what R. Kelly did was fucked up. He should have did time for that. But if the reason why R. Kelly locked up, it ain't because of that. It's because of deals he didn't make with them motherfucking execs, with his motherfucking with his music, his intellectual property. And it ain't even just how they do black artists. They do all the artists like this in the industry. They just, these music execs be fucking music labels like a motherfucker, them fucking these artists like a motherfucker. I went to look at how David Bowie and all them had to fight these big executive companies for their music rights. It ain't even just the black artists, it's just artists in general. They gotta fight to get their intellectual property back from these big executive corporations who ran by, we ain't gonna say no name who they ran by, but they ran by these big music execs that's greedy. I call these motherfuckers Ferengis. I call them Ferengis. Cause them what them motherfuckers act like, goddamn Ferengis on Star Trek. And basically, if you really notice or not, that's who the Ferengis were modeled after. Them certain people, if you pay attention. But like I said, man, you know, for that chick, back to her, man, that's what's up. That she showed that much loyalty to her man, but she said she turned down anything the motherfucker offer him. That says a lot about Haitian women. You dig? That says a lot. But I digress.